I am what I am, moment by moment, like everyone else.
To travel through time. Can we stop time? Go back or travel into the future? Certainly, it is what mankind has been doing since time immemorial. Stopping time is the most vivid activity that mankind invented to defeat the guilt of living. Because life is violence, we gather together happily to destroy life, eat animal crayons or vegetables. Well, when we produce the only true and beneficial resource for the earth, we hide in circulation. It is this absurd contradiction that makes us feel internally guilty other than original sin. Or rather, original sin is just that, a rare sin, no doubt about it. I will discuss in another video how to solve this sin. But let's return to the time machine. It was probably invented hundreds of thousands of years ago around fire. Some clever or deep people started telling stories that transported everyone into a timeless limbo. Stories that tells of the creation of the universe, of the birth of mankind, of deeds of supernatural beings or heroes, of events that transpire a moral subtext to teach what is good and what is evil, sometimes only for one's own community. Time stops, it dilates, it shortens. You live an hour and a half in 20 minutes or a minute in an hour. One is transported to different dimensions where the rules, the normal laws do not apply, where one can alter or change the stories themselves. One dreams, one identifies with the characters narrated as if they were events of the present, of our present, and even if they tell of a past event. We are Caesar, Hitler, Buddha, or the last of the centennials, or an insignificant partisan relay, a miserable prayer, or Jesus, or those Jews who condemned him to death, whether around the fire, temple, or church, theater, cinema, television, internet. And inside the time-altering machine, people enjoy, amuse themselves, meditate on familiar stories with happy endings or irredeemable tragedies. And the more faithfully they are repeated, the more they like them. But repetition is never the same in form, because the storytellers, the times and the needs of the audience change. On the other hand, even our memories are never faithful to what objectively happened. We remember a fact, an event, when it is time to remember it, and it is always distorted to make this memory useful at the moment it comes to mind, for better or worse. And in the ochre paints or the painting of hunting scene or pictorial expressions, time stops in a limbo of eternity to trace the passage from childhood to adulthood, or to propitiate hunting, to reflect and be reflected in precise snapshots that are always the same in time as our life inexorably flow by. Snapshots of photos, paintings, sculptures on earth or living do not matter. It is enough that they speak of us, of our being, to qualify them as time machine, and that they will survive our limited earthly lifespan. It is art that is the true time machine, an extension of our senses, even the most unconscious ones, indeed especially the unconscious ones, if it is true art. At the dawn of mankind, there were no discussion whatsoever. It was one with nature, and there was no distinction between art, religion, and everyday activities. A primordial time in which everyone always knew what they had to do, where to place themselves, without wondering if it was right or wrong, or what talent to express as adult. It was the time of mankind's early childhood, and like a child, he or she cried or laughed at the essential and primordial events. Hunger and satiety sleeps in awakening. Now, after millennia of existence, where humanity has emancipated itself with the obvious separation into thousands of distinctions between itself and the world, some, perhaps the majority, feel lost in the water the relativization of every cultural tradition and go in spasmodic search for certainties. As in that happy time of childhood, we run towards religious absolutism behind the strong man of the moment to delude ourselves that we can turn back, while we are torn by the doubt that our life is worth nothing if not recognized by success of ourselves or of our side. Ephemeral illusions. One only has to talk to rich and or famous people or retrace their existential vicissitudes to realize that they too are in the same situation as us, happy or desperate regardless. How to travel through time. Go backwards and forwards as we like. I have to laugh. We all travel through time moment by moment, but it is difficult to realize. Yet, intelligent people over the millennia have explained it to us in 1,000 direct or indirect ways, with parables or paradox, with resounding action, or with initial, with destabilizing provocations, or with the patience and goodness of an indulgent father, of an affectionate mother. We now have no more alibis of the didn't know, of the how to. With the internet, we can choose the time machines we like best from a myriad of offers. All we need is the will to want, to be aware, to decide once and for all to take charge of our existence as unique and unrepeatable beings, facet of a single creative reality, and to abandon all the excuses and distractions that drags into an addictive nothingness, like so many heroin addicts of everyday life, projected into an uncertain future or a past to regret or to forget, but to live in the present moment by moment, to enjoy the existing, to create eternal time machine for the happiness of oneself and others. Afterward, if you are not too inclined towards the esoteric science, if you consider them adolescent nonsense or obscure obscurities of a barbaric time, you can turn into artistic expressions as conscious users or as creators. And it does not matter if in the first case you are interested in marginal or unknown art, or in the second case you are not successful, famous or well known. The most important thing is to recognize in art the universal thoughts that transcend territories, cultures, philosophies. No one has ever managed to, not even the most authoritarian and fundamentalist regimes. Art transcends borders, iron curtains, extermination camps, and all the devilry that power has invented and will invent to repress freedom of thought. And through acts, one transcends oneself, approaches the absolute, stop time in the instance of creation of the creator. Then, and perhaps one can begin to look at the reality that surrounds us as a single work of art. And a stone thrown into a pound explains the origin of the universe, the interactions between things, people, the darkness and clarity of the rough ground, the sudden revolution of a territory, the observation of sound and colors. Perhaps for a few moments to be observer and pound, stone still bottom at the same time, or being enwrapped by a white wall for all that is potentially expressible, but that any intervention diminishes its possibilities, even a single black dot in the white vastness, or being a spectator, as in depiction of people walking down the street, each with their own star, betraying their history, their character, or of the movement of city traffic, or of a cow grazing. Who knows and enjoys it always.